time bomb, would you say?
That is the worst thing about HIV. Because of the latency period, 10 years the person can have the virus and he can be walking around as healthy, neat looking, but he's as dangerous in terms of the possibility of passing on the virus to anybody that he gives blood to, he shares blood with, he has sex with, whether it's a female to a female or a male to a female.
Doctor, I think we've said quite a bit on this show and others about some of the problems we call crises in the healthcare system in America. And what you're saying now is that, that there's a greater problem coming down the road in terms of the impact that this will have upon our healthcare system, because I know it certainly would have to have a tremendous impact.
Well, we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, in terms of what is yet to come. At this point, we believe that we have counted about 192,000 cases as of now, and we believe that for every one case, there may be 10 people who are infected. So along the way, the explosion is going to come. We believe that, of course, it's a leveling off among some portions of the population, among white males. It's leveling off. We believe that they have gotten wiser. They have lowered their risks. But among other groups of the population, especially among black females, black teenagers, we are seeing the infection rate still growing. The new cases are rising among them. And these are the very persons who haven't got the health care support. But what I'm saying in short is that the worst is yet to come. Before maybe some future time, we might see a leveling off. But the worst is yet to come on its impact on the healthcare.
Doctor, not long ago you spoke to a group of ministers at the Farm and Home Ministers Institute at Tennessee State University, and you talked about the church and AIDS. And I'd like for you to sort of repeat some of that information that you gave in terms of the church's attitude. This is a Sunday morning, and quite a number of people are watching who are church people, quote unquote, and in a real sense, they might be interested in what you might have to say about how the church ought to react to this disease, or should the church react to this disease?
Well, at this point, I know the church is caught in a bind, and the church is the leader of the community, so they have to lead the community, in the sense that whether it's over social issues, whether it's over religious issues, the church has to be a leader. And in this issue about HIV and AIDS, they are moral issues as opposed to religious issues. The church, there are some who oppose the church mingling in this issue and talking about condom use, for example. There are those persons who believe that the church must not touch it. But HIV is not going anywhere. We are stuck with it forever. Take it this way. Even with gonorrhea, with syphilis, where the latency period is very, very short, you can see the symptoms, and we've got a cure with penicillin or whatever drug we have. We haven't even been able to control syphilis, gonorrhea, and whatnot. HIV is not going anywhere. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. The church, if it wants to maintain the leadership role, must make a stand and say, this HIV is affecting the people. For example, among black people, the man is infected, the woman is infected, the teenager is infected, the child is infected. We are talking about a whole family being wiped out. We are talking about a whole community. If you don't know anything about it, let them look at what's happening in Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, where a whole village is infected, just because they haven't had the courage to talk about it, to do something about it. The church must take the leadership and say, yes, we have a problem of HIV infecting the people. Whether or not there's a moral issue about it, in terms of talking about sex, in terms of talking about drug use, this is a war against HIV. It's a war. And war must be fought with innovative ways, innovative means. That is my message. They must be part of it. We cannot pretend that it will go away. We cannot pretend that things are going to change. It will not change. And the church, the reverend ministers, the clergy must join with agencies like COPE agencies like Natural Cares to fight against this disease. That's the bottom line of my message.
Now, COPE, why don't you give us some information about COPE and what COPE has been able to do dealing with the churches up to this point, Doctor, because I understand that, that you are involved in going into various areas with that organization.
Well, COPE, what we think that we are only a means to reach the community. We have an outreach section where our staff go out to the community, reach to anybody who wants to listen to us. We talk about the data, we talk about issues about women, we even show them condoms, how to use condoms. We have education programs where we go to the community, to churches. Anybody who invites us, we shall be there. And we have a support group for HIV persons who have been infected to come to us, sit down. We want to help their families to deal with the disease itself. Now, we have been trying to work with the church in the sense of bringing the pastors together, and then they're showing them what the situation is, how the data is tagged against us, the black people. And then we hope that they themselves will be educated too. They themselves will also be part of the process of making people more aware. Because at this point, the only thing that can save individuals is information. We believe that the more you know, the more you will be able to change your behavior. This disease is a behavior problem. If you are able to change your behavior, not share drugs, not share anybody's blood, do not have any reckless, indiscriminate sex, where you can be exposed to infected sperm or infected vaginal fluid, then you are fine. We hope that they can join us.
So it's a kind of disease that the only thing that can save people is information.
There is no cure. There is no cure, and I don't foresee one in the near future. The virus we are dealing with is very, very formidable virus. There are 4 reasons why I believe that we are in trouble. One, this virus, when it gets into the human body, it uses its own part of its own genetic code and fuse it with your own genetic code, your own, the person that is infected, genetic code. So it's very difficult to remove this virus.
It's sort of personalized.
You have to kill it. You have to kill it yourself to kill it. That's number one. Number 2 is the latency period. When it attacks you, 10 years it's in you and no sign. Meanwhile, you are infecting everybody. Number 3, this virus, when it attacks you, has got the power to produce what we call some variants, some clones in the body. So that when you produce maybe a vaccine or a drug against this virus, it produces another variant of itself, which the drug or the vaccine has no effect on. And fourthly, this virus attacks the very, very core of your immune system. What is supposed to help you fight it? It attacks it, destroys it, and that allows other diseases to attack you too. We have done so much in terms of research for this, against this disease. We know about how this virus looks like, how it codes everything, but in terms of killing it, curing the disease, we haven't scratched the surface yet. So we are in a big trouble in terms of the future. The only way at this point we can fight it is make sure that you, as an individual, you don't get infected. You must be responsible for your behavior. You can't trust your partner, you can't trust somebody in the street, you can't trust that the person will tell you that I'm infected. That nobody will do that. We have, from our own program, we have individuals who know that they are infected and knowingly engage in behaviors that are exposing the virus to other people. So do not trust anybody. Use the information you have, the fact that you will not get infected if you do not share anybody's blood, if you don't get anybody's blood in your own bloodstream, if you don't engage in sex where an infected semen or infected vaginal fluid will get to you, you are okay. So of course, the bottom line is being monogamous or abstinence.
Very good. Doctor, not long ago, there was quite a newspaper story dealing with a young lady who I think had the disease and was trying to make as many persons passing around as much as she possibly could. Now, are you saying that that is quite prevalent, and you have information that would indicate that that is done in Nashville here?
There is no question in my mind that it is not an isolated case. There have been several newspaper reports about persons who knowingly expose the virus to their partners. There are some who may do it willfully. There are some who they have no way of, they are in a in a psychiatric situation where I would say they don't have much control over their behavior. Out of maybe drug-seeking behavior, they will do anything to get drug, for example. So when they're infected, they don't care. So if it means having sex with you and getting the money to go and buy the drugs, or having sex with you to get a drug directly, it doesn't matter to them. They will have sex with you. Meanwhile, they know they're infected. But they are more moved by their addiction than the willfulness to infect you. And there are some persons who are depressed. For example, in the black community, like I said, the support is not there. The family support is not there. There are persons who are infected and do not know who to turn to. So out of their depressive stage, out of the willingness to belong to somebody, might not tell you. So you owe to yourself the responsibility of guarding yourself against being infected by anybody.
Very good. And Dr. Poku, let me thank you for coming by and giving us that very, very important information today. I still believe that you have as much information about this disease as any person that we know, and we simply want to thank you for giving us that information. And we would like to encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Good morning.